Okay, project folder's been set up for Premiere, and there's a number of folders in here with film clips. Also, there's ones in here as well with music and sound files. So everything's set up and gathered all together in one folder with subfolders. We're going to open up Adobe Premiere Pro. We're going to create a new project. Now here you can set up scratch disks for external drives with all your resources into, so it doesn't hog all your memory. The only thing we'll need to change here is the two things down the bottom. I'll call this week 2. That's what my project's going to be called. And also I make sure I save it in the folder that I've got all my clips in, which is week 2. And I choose that, and it will save all those files in there. Now, this panel needs to match what the feed for your sequence is. So if you're taken with a digital SLR at high definition 1080p at 25 frames per second, you would select that. If you had something less, you would select that as well. Now, if you don't get this right and you do drag in a clip, it can match it for you, but ideally you need to have the footage all shot at the same format and bring it in. Now, you might find you've got the sample rate here for the sound, that's 48. You might have it less or a different setting. How you would change that, you go into settings and you would change it here. We're just going to use it, leave it on 48. And we click OK. Now once we're in here, it's all set up, and I just go over here and I open up my folder. You'll see it's put the document in there with the project files and everything we need, all the resources, and all I will do is select those and drag them down into the panel down the bottom right for all my project resources, and they're all situated down the bottom. Now this is in a list form. You can click on here and have them as more or less buttons and icons, and also you can change that from up here as well as list or icons. You can actually zoom in as well if you wanted to. If you've got quite a number of items in there, it might be best to have it as a list. Now once that's set up, I'm going to double click on a clip. It brings it up here in the source folder, and I need to define an in and out point. So I'd move the playback head along, get an in point, I press N on my keyboard, and then I drag it along somewhere there, and I press O on the keyboard to get a out point. I then drag it and place it in the timeline. This is where the sequences don't match, and I click change sequence settings. As mentioned before, you need to make sure that you have set up your sequence to match your clips. I'm fine here because all my clips are 720, so you would have problems if they're all different formats, because that will cause issues with the quality and also the size of all your actual clips filling the frame. Now once that's in there, we'll look at ways of zooming in. So we go down to the bottom, we can zoom in on the timeline to make it more comfortable to use by moving the bar at the bottom. Also, how we move along the timeline, we can play the playback head by pressing the space bar and switching it on and off. We can use the arrow keys, which move along 1 frame at a time. So right arrow moves 1 frame at a time, left arrow moves 1 frame at a time, up arrow moves us back to the beginning of that clip, and the down moves us to the end. Now also you can use the keys J, K and L. Now L moves it along, and then K will stop it, and then J will move it back to the left. Right, so if I press L a couple of times, it will speed up and rush along, and the same thing happens with the J. I press it a number of times and it sort of fast forwards or fast rewinds, so that can be very useful. Now I'll just zoom out a bit here. I'm going to put another clip here, and I'm going to use the JKL editing. So I'll go down and get another another clip. So I double click on another clip. I'll just get some in out points on it. So in, move it along somewhere here and get an out point. Then I'll drag it along here and put it at the end of the other clip. So we've got the two clips. Now how that works, that might be fine for you. You might be happy with those two sort of cuts on there, but if you want to edit the cut, we looked at the tools for doing that, and this is just another way of doing it. This is by using the K, J and L keys. Now I've click on my first block here, and so I get the red arrowhead pointing to the left. Now once I've got that, I can just double click on that, and you'll see up in here we've got two monitor windows. First one for the first clip and the one on the right for the second clip. Now if I press the JK, this will move my playback head to the left, so I press the J and I move it until I want it to be cut, so I press K and it cuts it, and you'll see it's cut it off in the timeline. Now I need to just move it along and bump it along. Now I need to move to the right, so I press the L key. Now it hits it here, and you'll see trim blocked on video 1, so that's what you want to see, and you just press K and then it joins it up. So what we've done is we've sort of done that little cut there and moved that along. So that's a very good way of cutting using those keys. Now if you want to close something that's up here in the source window, you can just click up there on the name and you can just say close, and that clears it.